The Epistle to the Hebrews, Marks of Spiritual Immaturity, Part 25. Introduction. 1. Just because one has been a Christian for many years does not mean they are mature. They may be like the person who had been a teacher for 25 years. 1. When she heard about the job that would mean a promotion, she applied for the position. However, someone who had been teaching for only 1 year was hired instead. 2. She went to the principal to ask why. The principal responded, "I'm sorry, but you haven't had 25 years of experience as you've claimed. You've only had 1 year's experience 25 times. During that whole time, the teacher had not improved." B. So it is with many Christians. They have not grown, but simply repeated their first year of spiritual life many times. 2. The lack of spiritual growth or spiritual immaturity is a dangerous thing. For there may be blessings to be enjoyed in Christ that only the mature Christian can truly understand and appropriate. B. If one remains spiritually immature, they do not come fully to appreciate the standing and blessings that they have in Christ. Deprived of a greater understanding, they are more susceptible to the wiles of the devil. 3. The author of the book of Hebrews found himself faced with this problem. He had much to say about Christ as our high priest. B. But the spiritual immaturity of his readers made it difficult, and so he thought it necessary to temporarily digress. Hebrews 5:11 through 14. 4. How about you? Are you growing as a Christian? B. Or are you repeating your first year over and over again and remain spiritually immature? Do you know how to determine whether you are spiritually mature? 1. Dullness of hearing. The Hebrews had become dull of hearing. 1. This prevented the writer from continuing with his argument at the moment. 2. While the material he had to share was hard to explain, it wasn't so much the difficulty of the material itself, B. as it was their own inability to receive it. 3. They had become dull of hearing may imply a regression. At one time they were not dull of hearing. B. They may have been like the Bereans at one time who received the word with all readiness. Acts 17:11. C. Indeed, most converts are truly sharp in their listening at the first. 1. They are excited about what they are learning. 2. They listen with great readiness and spiritual growth occurs. D. But it is not uncommon for apathy to set in, making one dull of hearing. When one becomes dull of hearing, they begin to regress to the state of spiritual immaturity. B. Are you dull of hearing? Ask yourself these questions. Is the Bible dull? B. Are the Bible classes dull? C. Are the sermons dull? D. Is anything that is spiritual in nature, like singing, praying, dull? 2. If so, then you have become dull of hearing. If you listen at all, it will be to those who are willing to tickle your ears. B. And you will be susceptible to being misled. 2 Timothy 4:3 through 4. 2. The inability to teach others. The Hebrews should have been able to teach others. 1. They had been Christians for some time. By this time you ought to be teachers. They had time to learn, to grow. B. A natural response to growth is to bear fruit. C. One way we bear fruit is by teaching others. 2. In this way or another, they should have been able to teach others. Perhaps not in a formal sense, for not all are gifted that way. 1 Corinthians 12:29, Ephesians 4:11, and James 3:11. B. But all can share the good news and hope they have with others. Acts 8:4, 1 Peter 3:15, and Titus 2:3 through 5. Their need for someone to teach them again the first principles demonstrated their spiritual immaturity. B. Are you able to teach others? 1. Assuming that sufficient time has passed, are you teaching others? A. Either formally as a teacher instructing others in the faith, B. Or informally by sharing your faith with others. 2. Do you find yourself saying, I don't know what to say? A. Then it sounds like you have forgotten the first principles. B. And you need to have someone teach you again. If anyone has not progressed to the point where they are somehow teaching others about Christ, then they are still spiritually immature. One reason why this may be true is another indicator of spiritual immaturity. Here ends part 25 of the Epistle to the Hebrews, Marks of Spiritual Immaturity.